In the small town of Lahore, there lived a young woman named Ayesha. Her eyes were always full of dreams. Dreams bigger than the narrow streets where she grew up. From childhood, she had wanted to be a writer. She would sit by the window every evening, scribbling poems in her worn-out notebook while her neighbors gossiped, and her mother worried about dowry and marriage. But life doesn't always let dreams bloom so easily. Ayesha grew up in a small, crowded street of Lahore. Her father worked in a factory, and her mother stitched clothes to support the family. Despite the financial hardships, Ayesha's childhood was filled with small joys. She loved the sound of rain tapping against the tin roof, the smell of freshly baked roti from the neighbor's house, and the quiet peace of writing poems under the yellow glow of a lantern. Her teacher once told her, "Ayesha, your words carry power. If you keep writing, one day people will know your name." Those words became her secret treasure. But in her world, girls were not taught to dream. They were taught to sacrifice. While her brothers were encouraged to study, Ayesha was told to focus on household chores. Still, late at night, when the world was asleep, she filled the pages of her diary with poetry. She believed that words could change lives. She believed her destiny was bigger than the walls of her home. At 20, Ayesha wanted to apply for university. She wanted to study literature, become a writer, maybe even a professor. She imagined herself standing in front of students, sharing stories that touched souls. But her father had other plans. "Books won't feed you," he said. "Marriage will secure your life." And so, before she could even finish her studies, her marriage was arranged. Her new home was not the home of her dreams. It was a prison of expectations. Her in-laws judged her cooking, her husband demanded obedience, and her diary was seen as a useless waste of time. Still, Ayesha wrote in secret. She scribbled poems on the back of grocery lists, on the edges of old newspapers, on the covers of school books, left behind by neighbors' children. Writing was her rebellion. But one night, her husband discovered her diary. He tore the pages into shreds, and threw them into the fire. "These dreams will not feed our children," he said coldly. That night, Ayesha felt something inside her break. Her dreams turned to dust before her eyes. Years passed. Ayesha became a mother of 3. Her days were filled with endless chores: cooking, cleaning, washing, serving. Her laughter grew rare, her eyes carried exhaustion, and her hands bore the marks of sacrifice. But inside her heart, the fire of words still burned. She told stories to her daughters at night, fairy tales mixed with the hidden truths of her own life. She would whisper, "Never let anyone steal your dreams. Promise me." Her daughters listened, their young eyes wide with wonder, never knowing that these bedtime stories were her unfinished poems. Sometimes, while folding laundry, Ayesha would look out of the window, at the girls going to college, their bags heavy with books, their eyes full of possibilities. And she would whisper to herself, "That could have been me." One afternoon, while cleaning, Ayesha's eldest daughter found a torn page, hidden inside an old recipe book. It was a poem her mother had written years ago. She read it aloud, and tears filled her eyes. "Mama, This is beautiful. Why didn't you show the world? Ayesha smiled with sadness. Because the world never wanted to see me. But her daughter refused to let the words die. She typed them on her phone, created a simple social media page, and began sharing her mother's poems online. Slowly, people noticed. Slowly, comments began to appear. Wu is the writer. Her words touch my soul. This is exactly how I feel but could never express. Please share more. For the first time, Ayesha's voice traveled beyond the four walls of her home. Ayesha never became the famous writer she once dreamed of. She never stood on a stage, never held her own published book in her hands. But her words, born in pain, raised in silence, found a way to breathe again through her daughter's hands. Her story is not just hers. It is the story of countless women who bury their dreams beneath responsibilities, who silence their voices for survival, who sacrifice their passions for family. But her journey teaches us something. Powerful dreams can break, but they can also be reborn. Even when society clips a woman's wings, her spirit can still teach her children to fly. And sometimes, when dreams turn to dust, they become the soil from which new dreams grow. Ayesha's name may never appear in history books, but her words live in the hearts of thousands. And every woman who reads her story remembers, even broken dreams have power.